Hey guys, this is Robert with RC1 Hobbies, and I'm going to shoot a video on soldering the T battery connector, sometimes referred to as the Deans, although there's some generics out there. So we're going to do a video on that, soldering the Dean or the T connector. So we can do this in several different ways, and this is not, it doesn't have to be in this particular order. We're going to tin the connector, the tab on the battery connector itself right here. So we're going to add some flux so that it sticks really well. And an important key to the Dean connector is to do not keep the iron on the tab too long, or it will melt the connector. So we want to get everything totally ready to apply the heat, get it done fast, and let it cool quickly. So the flux is going to help us do that. So I'm going to apply the heat and tin the connector. So the connector is now tinned. Also I probably should have just showed you by putting this in the alligator clips. So we'll add our solder flux to the connection tab. Get our soldering iron ready. Get our solder ready. We add solder to the soldering iron and then touch it to the tab, and as soon as it jumps onto that tab, we wipe it off, and now the battery connector tab is tinned. So now we can go to tinning our wire that we're going to attach. And if we're going to be doing a battery or something that's not a loose wire like this, we want to add the heat shrink first. So when we do the soldering, we will have the heat shrink in place, and we want to move it as far as we can away from the heat, because it will start to shrink if it gets hot. So in this case I have a loose wire, so that makes it a little bit easier. So we're gonna trim the wire back, and then we're going to tin the wire. And now we don't need a ton trimmed off here because we don't have a lot of tab here. I can trim a little bit more off on that here. So let's take the connector off. We're gonna tin this wire, get it ready for soldering. So we can add some flux to this wire to help the solder get into all the wires. So that's what I'm doing. We don't have to get thick, crazy or anything like that, just a good amount. So here we are. We're going to tin our iron, touch it to the wire. As soon as that flux gets in there, we can add our solder. Oh man, that's a generous amount. Look at that bulb on that thing. So we got enough there. Whoops, sorry. We have enough there. We can take that off, get our plug ready where we're going to solder. So we're going to do, I like to do the one that's perpendicular to the plug. So let's do that one first. It's usually the hardest. So here's an option. Here we go. We're going to get this ready for soldering. Alright, we're ready in place. Move the lighting a little bit. Get our wire. Hold till it cools. Another reason I don't like Deans. They are not the easiest one. You got to be good, or at least reasonable. I'm consider myself pretty decent at it, and it's not easy to do. It's tight quarters. Pull on it. Make sure you got a connection. I got a connection there. So now we go to, we want to add our heat shrink to this. Get our heat gun. Apply heat to the heat shrink. Alright, that one's done. Alright, let's go to our next one. So, let's strip our next wire. Put it in our alligator clip. Get all the wires tightly put together. Get our flux out. Get our solder ready. Get our soldering iron tinned. Apply the heat. Apply the solder. Alright, that part's done. Now we remove the wire. We're going to get the connector in there now. Get our needle nose pliers ready. Not fun. Alright, we got a good one there. We got to hold till solder cools. Done with that. Let's see how good of a job that's holding, so we can add the heat shrink all the way to the end. Get our heat gun. Alright, Dean's connector is done. T battery connector is done. And you can see why I'm not my favorite connector. I'm not good at it. But it is done. Thanks for watching. See you next time.